Gwen, I am so excited to be working with you to bring Sacred Heart Parish up to a new level and appreciation for sacred silence. And we've been getting our Masses now for some time with that little bit of centering prayer, where we take those 3 breaths. What can you tell us about centering prayer?
I think for myself, I have practiced centering prayer off and on over the last 30 years. And perhaps for the last 8 months, really consistently. The Holy Spirit works. It works within each of us to show us who we really are, without all the stuff that life lays on us, the drama. And
There's plenty of that.
There's plenty of that. And I think that what centering prayer has done for me is that it really has helped me to look within and see the person God created, and to live from that space, not from the space of what my history or what people have said or what has hurt me over the years, the person that has created with all its insecurities and junk.
You know, it's amazing because you and I are writing pieces beginning this week and next, and the 3rd one coming up, and they're on our website. They'll be posted. And we're beginning with a kind of, the first one is on what is the false self? And then, of course, next week will be, well, what is the true self? But this false self, if I heard you correctly, it's, I don't know, it's kind of, we get involved in perhaps dramas of some kind and all kinds of reactions and things that happen, but basically it's all in here in the end. In other words, reality is all right. It's fine the way it is. God is sustaining everything. But how can we see it clearly if there's all kinds of static and noise going on in here? Could you comment a little more about your insights into distinguishing what false self is?
I think that we all have tapes in our head, and they're tapes that are created from infancy. And it's how we learn that we are loved.
This is where, you know, when you see a baby crying out, it's totally instinctual. And, you know, the first need obviously is food. Baby cries, it's fed right away. The baby cries for affection. And then eventually, maybe at 2 years of age, the baby exerts its power. For example, some pureed peas, and mom is trying to feed the baby some pureed.
That's called terrible twos.
Terrible twos, and the baby pushes the needs away. So then you might say that then in the beginning, of course, the survival instinct, instinctual need, right? And then the affection and esteem, instinctual need, and then also power and control.
Right.
These are biological needs in the beginning.
Right.
Right?
And they become belonging and acceptance and self-esteem and all of those things. Just an example. If I happen to grow up with a parent who was obsessive compulsive, so everything had to be perfect all of the time, I would learn as a very young child that in order to get daddy's love, I have to be perfect. What happens then is I grow up and I know I don't have to be perfect, but there's a tape in here that's still running, that's still telling me that I'm only loved if I'm perfect. And that's what false self is. I think the problem and the big danger here is that we're going to think false self is bad self. False self is not bad self. Although, with, false, fake media and fake news and all that stuff we hear, and all of the, like, even the scams in the world. All of that teaches us that something that is not true is not good.
Right.
But the false self is how we have learned to cope. It's how we have learned to grow. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Our parents did the best they could.
If they could have done better, they
Would
would have.
Exactly. We say that often.
We do, yes. And to give a break to all of our parents, but these tapes then that we've developed over time, they are playing, but on a subconscious mostly
Correct.
level, and you really wouldn't even know they were playing unless you had a spiritual practice
Yes.
of such deep interior awareness that you begin to see.
This is why I behave as I behave.
This
is
it.
why I feel terrible when something happens or when someone says something. I go into like a puddle. And I do that because of some long ago tape that's been planted in my brain. Once I start taking time for silence and I can see where it comes from, it doesn't control me anymore. It no longer owns me. It is what it is. It was good for when it got me to associate with the world. So not bad.
Not bad.
But we can be better.
Well, and just not the true
And
self,
not
because,
whole.
Well, because it's all in your head. It's not really true. We're talking about the development, obviously, of what becomes the ego and becomes our idea of who we think we are. And it's basically, I want to look good. I want to present a good face to the world.
I want people to like me.
I want people to like me. Well, there it is. I need my affection and esteem. And I also need some power and control. And I also need us to survive and all these things. However, the something missing is the incredible happiness that comes when someone has discovered what Christ called the treasure in a field. What he called is the pearl of great
price. That's right.
And he's talking about the discovery of the true self who already is in union with God. That is the height of mysticism. And people already have it, but they wouldn't know about it because they're caught up in this idea of themselves. And I don't know a better way than to develop that
Interior silence.
Interior silence. It takes practice, doesn't it, and commitment.
Yes, it does. And I think the other thing about that is that we in our society have trained ourselves to be very, very busy people because, of course, that makes us very worthwhile and makes us very important.
Society loves that, by
yes,
the way.
it does.
Society
of course.
loves keeping us busy.
And so with that, to say I am going to take 20 minutes every morning or 20 minutes every afternoon, and it's my time with God. It is, but not with words, just truly presence. So that in that space, and I can't say that there are no words in the space, because sometimes for me, what happened when I first started this was that I came to an awareness of why I was doing what I was doing, and that I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want it to own me. And so I was able, through the silence, to recognize it. And then in real life, when a situation occurred, to recognize it and say, yeah, that's not really me. It's not who I want to be.
And in that kind of prayer, it really is very ancient in the Catholic tradition to practice this silence. In fact, in the 14th century, there's this marvelous book that was in monasteries and convents everywhere called The Cloud of Unknowing.
Yes.
And basically that means that you can't get God with this thinking mind. Forget it. It's kind of don't know, can't know, and actually no need to know God here. However,
Need to know God.
here.
Almost here. Almost here.
Well, medical science in the late 90s has proven that the heart itself is actually a brain.
Right.
And that is located in the center. Imagine that. So when the mystics were saying, heart knowledge is the thing, you can intuit God in the heart, but it's out of the discursive, busy, acting, wordy mind. And while words and prayers are fine, they're good, they have their place, I found, like you have, that if you can sit still, that's the first thing. It's the body wants to get up and go do things when you first practice, right? Did you
My
experience
kitchen
that
always
too?
needs to be clean.
Needs to be clean. And you're thinking about, oh, I got to get a cup of coffee or something, who knows what. But you become then kind of a master of the body, like you would train an animal, and you just say, you stay, even if it's for 3 minutes.
Right.
So you don't move,
Well,
right?
I think I started with only 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
And
That's a good place.
I've been involved in this for years, but when I first started, 4 minutes of silence was all I could do. I can do the 20 twice a day now, but it took several months, I would say, to get myself comfortable with 20 minutes twice a day. But what a difference.
What a difference.
In how the world feels and how I feel in it. And I don't feel controlled by it. And I don't feel like I have to be part of any drama. I can center now, even without the 20 minutes. Something's happening around me and it's disturbing. Even just for a moment, the deepest breath, and
Just let go, right?
let it go.
Surrender.
Surrender to it.
And
Exactly.
isn't that I think the greatest gift we can give God is the gift of our surrender. The Aramaic of the Our Father, interestingly, is not...
Oh, I love this.
Oh, yeah, it's not thy kingdom come, thy will be done. It is your kingdom is come, your will is done on earth as it is in heaven. So God's will is always done. We get in trouble when we're not flowing with it.
That's right.
When we're thinking something different or think something should be different than it is. But we wouldn't have the clarity and peace of mind unless we really had a spiritual practice that gave us that silence.
Well, that's why I'm so excited about what we're doing in the parish. The parish has been growing in depth. I mean, it's like growing down. It's
Really,
growing
yes.
roots. And as you've been here much longer, but I've been here almost 5 years. And in those 5 years, I have watched us as a parish family. And as I read the things we get from people out in wherever they are in the world, they are part of our family. And we are all together going deeper, being more in touch with the God within. And it's time for us to really celebrate that in the parish and help our people
Right.
to truly know God who lives within and wants union with them.
Everybody loves the 3 spiritual breath practices that really are a preparation to enter into that
Yes, right.
silence. And we put it in the beginning to help our listeners at home practice that. Take a breath, and the breathing out really is a great act of faith. You're letting go. And the second breath is a deeper act of faith because now you're surrendering even your thoughts. You just let them go, and you don't hook onto them. We have 23 other hours to think, but during this hour of prayer, we know where the off switch is because of this practice. And the third breath is really, it's a consent, isn't it, to God's presence and activity within you. Because you didn't get this grace and this peace to be able to see that false self and true self and be able to distinguish them and be able to become less and less identified with this false self and collapse more and more readily and easily into this true self who was always happy, always blissful.
But it's also always one with God.
Yes, it's the
Always-
union.
It's total union with God. When you can truly find true self, it's a lifetime's project.
It
to,
sure is.
to come into total union. But isn't that what it's about? I mean, I don't know.
course it
I don't know
is.
about you, but I'm on the last third of my life.
I might be on the last quarter, maybe.
So as I look at these years to come,
Right.
I wish I'd done it sooner, but I didn't, so I'm now. And I want to embrace oneness with God so that transition at death is just one more step.
Pretty seamless, isn't it?
You know, the other day,
Because all of that false self is the only thing that really dies.
when we were sitting preparing, getting ready for
Right.
taping, and you and I were sitting together, and you said, "Oh, maybe we'll die soon." And I said, "Yeah, maybe we will." And we both laughed.
laughed.
It was like, okay.
What if today is the day and it's fine?
It's all fine.
It's all fine.
It's all
It's
fine.
wonderful. But the back to this centering prayer, really, at its depth, it is a dying to the self, and it is precisely exactly what Christ means in the gospel when he said, "Whoever loses his self, his life for my sake,
We'll find it.
will find it, will discover who she is." And that's been your experience
That is.
in centering prayer, and also mine. Gwen, it is such a privilege to serve with you. I feel
And for me as well.
I feel so blessed to be with you, and I think the Spirit is using both of us.
I want to encourage our folks that are not in the parish.
Right.
For the folks that are in the parish, we have put cards in the pews so they can take them home and they can practice the breaths.
Right.
Now, I want to encourage folks that are out in the rest of the world that we are in touch with and that we matter to let me know, or let us know through comments or through notes, that they would like a copy of that.
Oh, sure.
And we can very easily put it in the mail
We sure
so
can.
that they would have a very lovely quality card to help remember
Just to help
and to
to
focus.
remember to do this, you could paste it on your bathroom mirror, you know, and before you brush your teeth, do the 3 breaths or something.
That's
Who
right.
knows what? But I think we both find that the more faithful we are to this daily practice, it becomes daily bread for us. It's a daily thing that it comes to be the way we are in our active lives as
That's
well.
right.
When we come out of the deep prayerful state of silence, we almost have a meditative stance, whatever we do, wherever
That's right.
we are. And that's been so true for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And we are excited to be able to help our parish continue to go into these contemplative depths. And one way we've done that is by alerting people to this marvelous app
Yes.
that is free. It is called Centering Prayer. And we have it on our website. There's a QR code. But if you go to the App Store, type in Centering Prayer, and it's for free. Download it. And it gives you, it's very intuitive, very easy. It gives you these 4 steps that are guides to help anyone who is listening to us to start trying this out and see where the Spirit will take you.
And I would encourage people not to get discouraged. You're not supposed to be able to do 20 minutes the first time you sit down and be silent. That's not a reasonable expectation of yourself. So when you do it, start with even 3 minutes or 4 minutes and slowly bring that
slowly.
time. You may do 3 or 4 minutes for 2 or 3 weeks and then bring it up and bring it up. There's no race. It's not a race.
And God will work gently with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good thing because if any of us have trauma in the subconscious, they're traumatized as children, abused as children, who
Right.
knows what. And these things are buried. When we go into these deep states of silence, it's like the screen becomes thinner and thinner and thinner, and some of this material can come up, and it can actually be very frightening.
And very emotional. I mean,
Yes.
I know that
At the beginning, right?
More than once, when I finished the time of prayer, I had tears rolling down my face because of some realization that I came to that, oh God, I thought I was over that.
Right.
And now
Right.
I realize that it controls how I behave. So I'm very excited for our parish.
Me too.
I think it's going to be great.
I've been seeing more and more people that are proud to show, see, Father, I got the app, and
Yep.
I'm practicing, and if it's, like a spiritual director said to me in Los Angeles when I had my really busy music career, and I was saying, I get up in the morning and I've got to get to the studio and I've got deadlines and, the TV and movie stuff and blah, blah, blah. And he said, Jerry, if you can't give God a half an hour, give him 2 minutes.
Right.
So everybody's got 2-3 minutes. So we encourage everybody at home to please take advantage of learning how to take that breath. We introduce a sacred word. My word is trust, 1 syllable.
Mine is come.
It's come?
Come.
1 syllable. So you let that word settle here, almost like you'd listen with the ears of the heart. And if a thought is going by, let it go by. The thing is, you just don't want to get into that thought and be carried away by it. Mm-hmm. If you do, you come back to that little...
breathing and the word.
And the word. You keep coming back to it. If you can maintain this for 3 minutes, keep your 3 minutes up for a week. And it will begin to become so beautiful for you that it's really what the mystics call resting in God, and you will see the fruits of it very soon. And God will work with you individually and specifically in the way that the Spirit will help you bloom and blossom like the flower you are.
Thanks. I'm looking forward to this. This
Me
will
too.
be fun.
Thanks, Gwen.